Even the best experts can commit some novice blunders. Hi, I'm Alan Berry, and this is Expert Dig. This is where we investigate experts and evaluate their public performances. Today, we take a dig at Mr. Scott Galloway and his appearance on HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher.
Scott, why is it more important to find your talent than your passion, as you suggest in your book? Oh, yes. What a great, interesting point. Yeah, I read, find your talent over your passion.
Anyone who tells you to follow your passion is already rich.
This is true. That's true. It's good, right?
And the guy telling you to follow your passion made his billions in iron ore smelting.
So right out of the gate, Galloway is pithy and clever, which Bill Maher and Don Lemon both love. But this approach can sometimes cause confusion. When experts use prototypes or innuendos or the like to make their points, it can be difficult to know when they're being factual or literal and when they're not. Now, obviously, not all billionaires make their money with iron ore. We get that. Galloway's point seems to be that many people make good money in uncelebrated or less than glamorous industries. Galloway assumes that everyone will keep up with his inferences. Some will, of course, many on Bill Maher's program will, but not everyone and not every time.
This is your job. Your job is to find your talent and then develop mastery. And in an industry that has a 90+% employment rate, you want to be a model, an athlete, an actor. Just keep in mind, if you don't get bright signals from a very early stage that you're in the 0.1%, which Don is, find an industry that's boring, that you can develop mastery. You know what you're going to become passionate about? Making a ton of money so you can take care of your kids and your parents.
Okay, so Galloway says, find your talent and then develop mastery. I agree, but not entirely. See, it turns out that you do not need to be a highly talented individual at something before you can build mastery in that domain. In many cases, in fact, I dare say most, you do not need to have a natural or God-given talent at all. You just need to find an enduring interest, get serious, and be committed to developing mastery over the long run. It's mastery that is the ticket, far more than any initial raw talent.
Find out what you're good at. And if you become a ninja master at something, the accoutrements of that, being relevant, making money, having a larger selection set of mates than you deserve will make you passionate about whatever that thing is.
Okay, so to this point, Galloway is doing pretty good, but soon he gets derailed.
You guys literally, let me ask you this, how many comedians do you know that are outstanding but don't make a very good living?
None.
None?
Now this right here was a blunder which experts should avoid. Galloway expected Maher to respond with some number higher than 0, but that didn't happen. Now, I may be wrong, but I suspect that Galloway thought this was a rhetorical question, a question asked for effect rather than out of a desire to know the actual answer. But Maher didn't see it or hear it as a rhetorical question at all. And as a result, Maher takes Galloway way off his original point.
How many comedians do you know that are outstanding but don't make a very good living?
None.
None?
Outstanding? I think eventually talent outs.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say that anybody mediocre can have a few good years, but long careers, show business is full of bullshit. Full of it. But the one thing it does adore is talent.
Yeah.
And it usually gets that right. Spielberg isn't Spielberg because, he
Okay, Spielberg. There's 180...
Okay, but...
Sorry, go ahead.
So quickly, Galloway has realized that this question was a mistake and he wants to get back on track. But Maher has him stuck using his precious time talking about Steven Spielberg, who is anything but representative to Galloway's original point. Finally, he digs out.
Like, who do you think is a big phony?
Oh, I'm not going to call anyone a big phony. What I'm going to use is data. 180,000 of the most talented creatives in the world are in SAG-AFTRA. It's not easy to get into the union. And last year, 87% of them didn't get health insurance because they didn't make over $23,000.
Right.
Now this right here is a strong point, and it is impressive that Galloway knows his numbers right off the top of his head. But I suspect that only a few people in his audience fully understood what he was saying. I had to review it myself, so let's try again.
180,000 of the most talented creatives in the world are in SAG-AFTRA. It's not easy to get into the union, and last year 87% of them didn't get health insurance because they didn't make over $23,000.
Okay, hold on right there, Professor Galloway. You said there are 180,000 actors, dancers, singers, and other artists who are members of the labor union known as SAG-AFTRA, the Screen Actors Guild and the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. Of these union members, a full 87% did not earn $23,000 in 2023. Those are compelling numbers, but I'm not sure that the average audience member had a chance to fully digest them. It seems that even Bill Maher misses Galloway's point.
If you veer from anything that you're not innately very suited for, you will fail. You have to be perfectly suited for it.
No, Bill, that's not right. The point is that you need to develop mastery, and preferably in an industry that will appreciate the value you bring. It is much less about innate raw talent and much more about a commitment to mastery in a field that is not overly crowded. I think Galloway is a compelling speaker and certainly a brilliant expert. It must be hard to keep Bill Maher on point when he is always looking for something funny. But Galloway, I think, gets out a little over his skis on this one. He starts talking about point number 2 before finishing with point number 1. When you are called upon as an expert or business leader to make a point, make it clearly and then reinforce it until it sinks in. And when you are called upon, don't use rhetorical questions or hypotheticals or sarcasm or analogies or anything of the like unless you are certain that they will hit the mark and not land you in the ditch or talking about Steven Spielberg when you don't intend to. I'm Alan Berry. Thanks for joining me.